All right, welcome everyone. My name is Dr. Jaclyn Siano. I am the director here at Inspired Instruction, and this month's webinar topic is Supporting Educator Wellness, Strategy to Help Teachers Thrive. So in regards to our agenda for this session, we're going to talk a little bit in general about wellness and its effects, and then we kind of divided this into two parts. One part is in regards to administrators and what they can do to help support teacher wellness. And the other part is directed at teachers in terms of what teachers can do to support their own wellness. And if you're an administrator, I think part 3 is also really important because it's strategies that you can pass along to your teachers. All right, so wellness effects. What are the effects of teacher wellness? So we know that, the term wellness is always, well, if you add we and take away I, illness turns to wellness. It's more than just absence of illness or absence of stress, or even just being happy. When we talk about teacher wellness, we're talking about teachers being able to flourish and feel that they are holistically whole. And that, it's not just about, oh, I don't have stress. Everyone has stress. So it's more about taking that stress and figuring out how do we deal with that stress in order to achieve what we would regard as teacher wellness. Oh, my computer stopped clicking. Oh boy. I apologize. I don't know what happened. Give me 1 second. Here we go. My goodness. All right. So teacher wellness, it affects pretty much everything. It affects teachers' mental and physical health. It affects how much and how well they are engaged in their actual job. A big part is their intention of whether or not they're going to leave their school or even leave the entire profession, which I'll talk about in a second. It affects their choices in relation to how they're teaching and then their behavior in the classroom, how they take their emotions and their enthusiasm and their motivation or lack thereof and transmit that to their students. It affects student outcomes, specifically academically, and achievement and performance. And it also overall affects the effectiveness of the school. So I've been in a lot of schools recently where you can tell that the culture and the climate is just not as great as it used to be. Teachers are feeling it, and a lot of that has to do with their wellness or lack thereof. So teacher turnover has increased 4 percentage points above pre-pandemic levels. So 10% nationally, that is the teacher turnover rate as of the 21-22 school year. And based on the conversations I've been having with a lot of my teacher friends, I think that number is going to continue to increase based on, schools and teachers who are not doing things that are going to benefit their wellness. And according to an NEA poll, 90% of its members, all of whom are educators, say that feeling burned out is a serious problem. So teachers say I'm burned out, administrators say I'm burnt out. It's not just a phrase, it's a real thing, and it really does negatively affect our wellness, and it does negatively affect our jobs and our lives as a whole. So what can we do about it? So as I mentioned in the beginning, this part is geared towards administrators. So your teachers are burnt out, you're burnt out, everybody's stressed, wellness is not where it should be. What do we do about that? So the first thing I want to talk about is meetings. Having been a teacher for a very long time, we've sat in a ton of meetings. Meetings are important. They have to happen. They're a way for admin to pass along information. There's a way to get FaceTime with their staff. However, too many meetings can definitely be overwhelming and also can just decrease their effectiveness. So I'm not saying, okay, no more meetings, just let everybody do whatever they want to do. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are some things that we should consider as administrators before going forth with our meetings. So before scheduling a meeting, whether it's a faculty meeting or a department meeting or whatever it happens to be, I want you to ask yourself this first question. Can this be done asynchronously or virtually? And the reason I say that, I know a lot of people are zoomed out, virtually. We've been virtual forever. I want to get back to face-to-face, and there is absolute value in that. But if there's a possibility that this one meeting can be done asynchronously or virtually, your teachers will appreciate that. Everyone is exhausted after a day in the classroom. So giving teachers the option to take a meeting virtually or even from home as an asynchronous Google Classroom is a huge gesture that shows administrators understand teacher workload and stress. And if that's not possible, it has to be done face-to-face, no problem. Think about, how long do I really need for this meeting? A lot of schools, you guys have contractually obligated days, like all teachers have to stay after school from 3 to 4 p.m. on Wednesdays for meetings. Do they have to be in a meeting that entire time? Maybe not. If you say, okay, we have an hour, but I really only need 30 minutes to meet with my teachers face-to-face, can you give the teachers 30 minutes, 3 to 3:30, to work independently or have a PLC or collaborate with their colleagues and then come to the meeting from 3:30 to 4? So they're still contractually obligated to be there, so they're still there. They're just not sitting in a meeting for an hour if it only is going to take 30 minutes. And we know sometimes long meetings are necessary. Sometimes you do need that entire hour. We have to go over NJSLA stuff. We have to go over new policies, just some general best practices. If you have to have those long meetings, because we know we have to have them sometimes, to show that your teachers that you value their time, send a detailed agenda ahead of time that shows how long the meeting's going to be and what will be covered. And this way the teachers know exactly what they're walking into. And also I think it helps them be in the correct mindset of, okay, I know we're going to be talking about X. So my brain needs to be on X before I walk into that meeting. And another nice thing that you could do that definitely improves, I think, overall morale, hence, connected to wellness, is share a yay of the day. A yay of the day is administrators, have your teachers fill out these little forms. What's something great that happened in your classes today? And it might be something as simple as my one student who has been late every day for the past 2 weeks came in on time today. And it's small, but it's important. And celebrating those little positive things really can improve the climate and overall wellness of your educators. Collaboration time. I know schedules a lot of times are set in stone and administrators don't necessarily have the ability to change schedules, but there are ways to kind of create and prioritize time either in the school day or during after school time for teachers to plan together. Because we know that collaboration, it lessens the burden for teachers. And then overall, it does affect the efficacy of student learning. So this can be done by having PLC time. This can be done by having common planning time if your schedule allows it. And it could even be done, let's say your schedule is set in stone and listen, I cannot add PLC time. I cannot add common planning time. Maybe replacing one of those monthly meetings or weekly meetings with collaboration time for teachers. So instead of doing a department meeting where they're sitting there listening to someone, you give them time to work with their colleagues, to brainstorm, to do data analysis, to create lesson plans, whatever happens to be, because we know that collaboration is super valuable for teachers. And a lot of times teachers feel like an island and they don't have that time. So anything we can do as administrators to help make that time for them, I know would be greatly appreciated. Make conversations meaningful. When I was a teacher, and I know a lot of my teacher friends, days would go by without me seeing an administrator in my building. And I think it is really important that that connection is there, because we know part of wellness is making sure that teachers feel holistically whole, right? All parts of them. And that also includes the social aspect as well, and the emotional aspect of knowing that an administrator cares about what they are doing in the classroom and out. So just to think about asking for feedback and acting upon that feedback about school-related things definitely will improve overall teacher morale. So one thing you can do is invite feedback. You want to show your teachers that their perspective is valuable. And I'm not saying, if they say, oh, listen, we need to put, a $4,000 espresso machine in the teacher's lounge, that's not the kind of feedback you need to necessarily apply. But they might have a good idea that from their perspective, and you never saw it before because you're in a different role. So things that you can ask is, what is something that we're doing as a school really well? How can we improve on that? What do you think we should be doing differently? What do you need from me as an administrator? What do you need from your colleagues? And these open conversations really do, besides giving you a new perspective, also shows the teachers that you are concerned about them and their thoughts and their well-being. Personalizing these conversations. I'm not saying that you have time to run to every single teacher during the course of a day to say hi, that call them by their first name. You probably don't have time to do that. But when you are talking to them, make sure that you're personalizing what you're asking, so not just, oh, hey, how are you? We can go deeper than that. What's stressing you out right now? How's your work-life balance? Because I'm pretty sure if you talk to any teacher right now or any administrator, they're going to tell you, I'm stressed and work-life balance is kind of a hot mess. So it is important to ask these questions. How are you taking care of yourself? What can I do to support you? And the answer might be nothing. Maybe there's nothing you can do as an administrator to help, but you're listening and you're showing that you genuinely care about your teachers. And then being open, start with something, what's on your mind? You look concerned or you look stressed. What's on your mind? What do you think we could be doing better? What are some of your priorities right now? Is there anything I can help you with, resources, support, time to help you achieve those priorities? So it's just really a matter of moving from the, hey, how are you? Or how's your day going? To some deeper, more meaningful conversations with your teachers to show that you do genuinely care about their wellness and their well-being. If you can, provide wellness opportunities, especially free ones. There are lots of free mindfulness apps you can share, links to resources and articles. You could do a walking club. My school did that. It was great. Like every Tuesday at 3 o'clock, anyone who wants to go walk around the track together can go. So that was fun. Optional PD, yoga classes, and poll your staff, because there's a pretty good chance that you have staff members who have other jobs or have had other jobs in the past related to wellness. Someone might be a yoga instructor. Someone might be a master in meditation. Someone might be a former massage therapist and is willing to do 10-minute massages in the, shoulder massages in the teacher's lounge. You don't know until you ask. So anything you can do to provide wellness opportunities for your staff, again, sends the right message. And I think it is just really, really important. And it doesn't have to be expensive. Nothing has to be expensive. There's lots of free stuff out there. And that's why I recommend polling your own staff. And please, administrators, remember, you guys are stressed too. You need to be concerned about your own wellness. You cannot pour from an empty cup. So all these strategies that I'm going to be talking about next for teachers apply not only to my administrators, but also stuff you can turnkey to your teachers. All right, so teachers, we're stressed, we're burnt out, our wellness is not where it should be. What can we do for ourselves? And administrators, also, what can we do, or what can we encourage our teachers to do for themselves? Start with a self-assessment. So all these documents that I'm going to be showing, you will be receiving a follow-up email after this webinar with links to all of these that you can download. So I like the idea of starting with a self-assessment. I think a lot of times it's hard, even not as a teacher, just as a person in general, to think about, am I really taking care of myself? Am I sleeping? Am I sleeping well? Am I drinking enough water? Am I doing a hobby? Am I not just working 24 hours a day? Do I have support? What am I doing to work on myself? And a lot of times that's hard. Like I have 2 little kids, a full-time job, family, friends, everybody needs something all the time. Self-care is hard. So I like the idea of a self-assessment and just taking it, saying, wow, you know what? Looking at this, I really need to work on drinking more water, going for a walk every day. I really like painting. I haven't had time to paint in 3 months. I need to make time to do that. So a self-assessment is really a great way to start. Managing time. I am pretty good at managing time, but there are some of these tricks that I know I should be doing myself. So the first one, start and end each day with a purpose. What is my goal for today? And that might be a work-related goal. It might be a personal goal. It might be anything, an emotional goal. What is my goal? What do I want to achieve by the end of the day? What I like to do is write it on a little Post-it note and I put it in my bag. And then at the end of the day, I check it and see if I have achieved it or not. And if I haven't, that's okay. It becomes tomorrow's goal. But it is a nice way to get out, okay, this is really what I want to accomplish today. Shut the front door. I love this. This is something that I think is really, really important. If you think about, so the social aspect of teaching, you have colleagues. My colleagues were my best friends. They're still some of my best friends. I would love to stand there all day at the door and chat with them all day. But I know if I do that and I lose my prep talking, then I'm gonna have to take all that work home. So it is really important sometimes to just, hey, love you guys, want to catch up, want to talk, but I really have to get these tests graded because I don't want to bring them home tonight. So shut that door, have some quiet in order to concentrate. Reevaluate what needs to be graded. I was an English teacher, so I was the worst offender of this. I thought that every single thing that came across my desk needed to be graded with extensive feedback and photocopied and put into a binder, and that is not true. Okay, yes, we are not saying give the kids work just because, we can. We want everything to be meaningful. But at the same time, you want to make sure that you're implementing self-check stations. Let the students do partner checks. Let them do self-evaluation. Lessen your workload where you can. So we still want the students to be accountable for their work. We still want them to know that their work is meaningful, but it doesn't mean that you can't help yourself out a little bit as well, and maybe have them do a rubric first, or have them switch their paper with a partner. Let their partner do the rubric before it even gets to you. And this is the one that I'm guilty of. If you've never heard the phrase, eat that frog, it means do the hardest or worst thing you have to do for the day first. Get it out of the way, tackle it, it's done. Whatever you're dreading that you have to do it first, it's off your plate, and then you don't have to worry about thinking about it all day. Oh my God, I still need to do that, and I really don't want to do it. And it also helps you spend more of your day being happy with your accomplishments. So I really do like that as a strategy. And that's something that I know I personally am trying to do, where I want to get my hardest or, least likable task out of the way first thing in the morning, and the rest of my day can be focused on stuff that isn't going to irritate me. And I think that is really, really important. Learn to prioritize. I am a to-do list maker. I have a to-do list on my Google. I have a paper to-do list for work. I have a paper to-do list for home. I recently just printed out these two because I love them because they're color coded. Think about, if I can complete only one item on this list today, what would have the greatest impact on my working life? So it might be top priorities are, I need to get my grade book, straightened out because marking period's ending tomorrow. That would be a top priority. Something like, I want to reorganize my file cabinet might be towards the bottom because nothing is going to happen terrible if I don't reorganize my filing cabinet today. So it's really about prioritizing what needs to get done first and what can get done at a later date. And I think for me, so I do not procrastinate. If it's something that I know needs to get done, but it doesn't really need to get done until like next week, I put it in my Google Calendar as a task for whatever day I have to do it. Or I put it in my paper calendar, next Friday, I need to do this. And this way I know it's there, or it's on my radar, but I'm not worrying about it today. I've processed it. I know when it's due, but it's not a today problem. So I like both of these. And again, you guys will be getting links to all of these. I think if you're an administrator, this would be a really cool thing to start using yourself, and then maybe even pass along to your teachers. Work practice tweaks. So little things we can do to make our work life a little bit less stressful, and hence improving our wellness and well-being. I'm Italian. Italians do guilt really, really well. So I know that I feel guilty if I can't do everything that everyone expects me to do. I think it is really important to ditch the guilt. You have to be realistic about what you can achieve during the course of your school day, and then leave the rest at school. So I know that I am at school from 7:30 to 3:30. What can I get done in a reasonable amount of time during that course of the day? And then what is a priority? Because if it's not a priority, it stays at school and it goes on tomorrow's to-do list. So not to feel guilty about you cannot do everything in one day. Trying to resist presenteeism. I was one of those teachers who stayed late every day. If you don't have to, and you find that it is negatively affecting your wellness and well-being, that you are at school more than you are at home, and you don't have to be there till 5 o'clock every night, give yourself a break. Stay when you have to stay, and leave when you don't have to be there. And it just helps you, again, that work-life balance is super important. Multitasking. I'm guilty of multitasking. I try to do multiple things at once, and research shows us that we cannot do two things at once with the same level of efficiency as we do one thing at a time. So I like that to-do list, that prioritization tool, because it says, okay, I'm going to do this, I'm going to cross it off, then I'm going to move on to this. I'm not going to try to do 5 things at once. I'm going to do one at a time and cross them off as I go in order of priority. Setting boundaries with technology. You absolutely, on your calendar, your Google Calendar, on your cell phone, you can set times where you go dark. So you can put an away message up for your email after 4 o'clock. Thank you for your email. I am out of the building. I will respond to you tomorrow. And then I guess the catch is you have to make sure you don't actually check the messages on your phone, because that defeats the purpose. You could do the same thing with your phone. You could set it so that you do not receive messages, text messages, phone calls after 8 p.m. And this way you are shutting yourself down. You are focusing on yourself. Do what you want to do. You like painting? That's a good time to start your painting. You want to do some meditation? Do it then. But technology is both a blessing and a curse. And in this way, it could be a blessing because you can also put some parameters around your personal time. Uh-oh. Oh no. Okay, here we go. So stress is inevitable. We know that some of it is unavoidable, but there is some stress that is avoidable. So thinking about planning, foresight, there are some things that you can kind of sidestep in regards to stress that we can get rid of that is unnecessary. So for me, traffic, commuting in general was always a very big stressor for me. Am I going to get there in time? I have to drop off the kids. I have to get here at this time. Learning when to leave home to avoid traffic is really helpful. Like Waze is my best friend. So knowing that, okay, if I leave at this time, I'm going to miss most of the traffic, or I know that I can have to take this route because there's a backup on the highway. And then just to make your commute more enjoyable, audiobooks, podcasts, something that you're not just focused on your drive in, but oh my God, I have to get to work. I have to get to work. Something enjoyable. And it could be a serial killer podcast. It could be whatever you want it to be, whatever you're into, but something to kind of promote your mental health and that stuff that you like for yourself, that as a teacher, we know so often that usually gets pushed to the background because we're so worried about everybody else. Same thing goes for distractions and missing your downtime. I am guilty of this. There's always something else to do. Yes, I could sit down and read that novel I started 3 months ago, or I could do laundry, or I could do the dishes, or I could grade papers, or I could prepare my lesson plans for tomorrow. Sometimes you just need to do what you have to do. Yes, lesson plans for tomorrow, priority. Laundry, it can wait. Everything else can wait. I can take that half hour to sit down and read that book because I need that downtime for myself. And then overfilling your plate, learning to say no. I'm always the first one to offer. Yes, I can help you with that. Absolutely, I'll get that for you. And then sometimes I go and look at my calendar and I'm booked nonstop for 8 hours, and half of it is my own fault because it's stuff that I volunteered for when I didn't have to. So it is important to learn to say no, not to everything, but if you know you already have a very busy day or you already have activities coming up that you need to plan for, you can say, listen, I can't do it right now, but I can help you next week. Or listen, I can't cover that class today because I'm getting ready to grade all of my midterms. You can say no. Okay. Again, you don't want to say no all the time because I don't think that's the message you want to send, but sometimes for our own wellness and well-being, you have to say no. You cannot do it all. And I know teachers are superheroes. We all are, but we cannot do it all. Choosing the positive. And I like the word choose. We're choosing to be positive. Positivity is not something I think that comes naturally to everyone. You have to choose to be positive. And I think one of the best ways to do that is to show gratitude. And I'm not saying run around and say thank you to everybody you know. I'm thinking I have a gratitude board in my office at home. And it basically, I'm looking at it right now. It says, I'm grateful for. And every day I put something I'm grateful for. So I have snuggles with my boys. I have 2 boys, 3 and 5. Coffee. I'm grateful for coffee. I'm grateful for weekend naps. Things like that. It could be work related, it could be home related, but just keeping in the forefront of your mind what I am grateful for does help to kind of block out some of the negativity that comes with being in education right now. You can keep a gratitude journal. You could even do out loud mantras if that's what you're into. Today, I am grateful for this, and start your day that way. And this 5-minute gratitude journal is really cool because it gives you some thought provokers. So every day you can say, okay, someone who I admire or I'm looking forward to, I enjoy spending time with. Because sometimes it's hard. You sit there and like, listen, I'm so stressed out. I got 97 things I got to do. I don't even know what I'm grateful for right now. These little gratitude journals help because they give you prompts. And again, we'll be sharing these with you after the webinar. And if you really, really, really want to jump all in, I think this is a great idea. 30-day teacher wellness challenge. It's like a bingo board. So every day you pick one. You do not have to go in order, but every day you do one and you cross it off until you complete all 30. So it might be reorganize your desk and surround it with things that you like, pictures of your family, pictures of your dog, whatever it happens to be. Go to bed 30 minutes early, try a new recipe. Bring a treat for a coworker or a friend. Little things don't really cost money. It's really just things that are going to promote the positive and promote your own personal wellness, both socially and professionally. And when it comes down to it, you want to make a plan, because I'm a planner, and I know there are lots of people who aren't planners. My husband, for example, is not a planner. I really do think it is important to plan as much as you can. And if that means planning for wellness, then so be it. Because even if it's on paper and you don't follow it exactly to a T, it's on paper. And it might just be something you put up in your office or you put up in your bedroom and you look at and say, yeah, you know what? I really do want to work on these aspects of my wellness. And it might not be today, but I'm going to get there. And it's a visual reminder that even if it's not today, I am working towards it. So I did just share that document in the chat. So you should be able to access that. And what this is it's make your own wellness plan. What does your perfect week look like? Your perfect week. So keeping in mind, yes, we do have to go to work. What does your perfect week look like? Does it mean going to work and then going to the gym? Does it mean going to work and then going home and taking your kids to the park? What does that look like for you? And then the other part of it is your wellness plan overall. All the different aspects of wellness, physical, emotional, social. What are the things that you want to improve on in your own life? Things that would improve your overall wellness. So it might be intellectually, I want to read more. I want to make more time to read things I want to read. Emotional, I want to start keeping a journal. Okay. So all of these things, just having a plan, I think, again, even if you're not acting on it immediately, it's almost like a vision board. It's where you want to go. That's where you are working towards. So I did share that. And yes, all of the documents that I'm sharing in this PowerPoint will be emailed to you after the webinar. And I really love this quote. You can't really be present for the people in your life if you aren't taking care of yourself. And it's hard. Self-care is not easy. I told you, I'm a mother of 2. I'm married. I have a full-time job, hobbies, all these other things. It is hard, but it is important because you can't fill from an empty cup. You are not helpful to anyone if you are falling apart. So I really do hope that as an administrator, you got some ideas both for yourself and to share with your teachers. And as a teacher, you got some ideas that you can start implementing to improve your wellness, because our goal is we want to keep you in the profession. We don't want to lose teachers. Okay. We want our teachers to be happy. We want them to feel whole. And we want them to feel well. So it is really, really important. So I do hope that a lot of these strategies you will find helpful. So what's next? I am going to put a form in the chat. I would love for you to fill it out because I would love your feedback on this webinar. And then, as I mentioned before, you're going to receive a follow-up email in the next few days with all of the resources that I mentioned, during the presentation, and also some other ones. So if you're an admin, you can share them with your teachers. If you're a teacher, please share them with your friends, or maybe share them with your admin and say, hey, I attended this really cool webinar. This might be something you want to share with the staff. So I do hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions, if you're interested in professional development on teacher wellness or other topics, please feel free to email me. I will also put my email address in the chat. And we are happy to help you guys make sure that you are supporting all of your staff and yourselves throughout the rest of the year. So please reach out if you have any questions. So thank you so much. If anyone wants to stay on and ask questions, I'm going to turn off the recording, so please feel free to do so. Thank you.